Great. Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take a top stories in crypto. Everybody on a bite-sized pieces. Today, just as the thumbnail suggests, there's some good news on the horizon because it looks like that wormhole hack, everything has been restored. So we're going to take a look at just what happened by taking a look at who is Jump Crypto that actually came into this and pretty much bailed everybody else out. And then finally, we'll take a look at just a clarification of that IRS case, which is clarifying exactly what it means to stake your crypto and the rewards and how much you have to pay. And then at the very end, we'll go over a little Q&A. So it's going to be a very quick update just for what is going on today, and we'll get out of here. So real quick, let's take a look at the market recap. And also, if you are watching the replay, just know that there will be timestamps just right below, so you can skip ahead to anything that you want to see. And then the news usually takes around 10 or 15 minutes. Then we do Q&A, which could take a very long time. So it's up to you to stick around if you want to. All right, so let's jump into it and just take a look at what's going on with the market. So today it is, what is it? The 3rd? The 3rd? Wow, 3rd of February. Time's flying by. About 5:20 p.m. Puerto Rico time, and it's looking okay. Not too great. I'm not going to spend a great deal of time. Pretty sideways day. Nothing really fantastic is going on. The big loser or big one that's down the most, Avalanche 3%. That's pretty big. What else we got? 4.8% for Near. No real reason. 5.3% for FT. That's crazy. Well, I can kind of understand why. Maybe the 5.3% is because of them and their group bailing out Wormhole. But we'll take a look. Ooh, Hedera's up 8.3. Congratulations. And that's the big stuff. I thought it was going to be, Maker's up 7%. It's pretty good. I thought it was going to be a worse day because I had heard that Microsoft, it wasn't Microsoft, it was Facebook or Meta, as they call now. They dropped by like 20 points because of their earnings, and everybody was freaking out. They thought it was going to be a bad day on the markets, and not too bad, actually, in all honesty. I mean, look, S&P 500 didn't drop that much. And over a 5-day time frame, it's actually doing much better. And then if you take a look at the NASDAQ, I mean, for everything else that's out there, I mean, one day didn't go down too much, and actually over 5 days is looking pretty good. So in all honesty, the crypto market went a little bit sideways, so the traditional market, and that's where we're at. So no big deal. But this is the big story today. So if you're not aware, there was a monstrous hack. It was the second biggest DeFi hack in history, and it was over, on this one it says 120,000 worth of ETH, which is 300 million. And there was reports of different fluctuations all the way up to 200,000 ETH, which could have been $500 million. But it looks like that is what happened. The wormhole itself, it's an interoperated protocol, transfer of value, just cross chains, and deals with 7 different ones. One of those is Solana, and there was a hack. It was an issue with. It sounds to me like some part of the language of Solana, but in reality, it was just an issue with the security. And the audit actually laid it all out for Wormhole about what to make sure that they patch up, and they didn't do it. And a lot of people lost a lot of money. But that's okay because as of today, all funds have been restored and Wormhole is back up. We're deeply grateful for your support and thank you for the patience. And 7 hours ago, it says, contract was exploited for 120,000 ETH. Vulnerability patch, ETH contract. That's pretty fast, I must admit, and I will tip my hat. So what happened here? How did this all come about? Well, it came about because of this. Jump Crypto came in and said, hey, we're going to bail you out. So Jump Crypto, and this is the tweet itself, believes in a multi-chain future and that Wormhole crypto is essential infrastructure. That's how we replaced 120,000 ETH to make community members whole and support Wormhole now as it continues to develop. So that's it. Case closed. Everybody's happy. Money's back. It's not as cut and dry as that. First of all, like I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, just for questions and for giggles, who's Jump Crypto? Because it's not like, first of all, 120,000 ETH, right? So let's just figure that out. 1 ETH right now is worth 2,600. 120,000 ETH is worth 314 million. $768,400. So these guys just came in and said, here it is. Here's 120,000 ETH. Like it's nothing, like no big deal. So this is the information I could find. Jump Crypto is building next frontier in crypto infrastructure. And it's just really just a one-page website. And here's who are their partners, or alongside, as they call them, the community. AMP, Bitso, Chiliz, Bybit, BTSO, Coinoc, Human, Oasis Labs. Now here's where it gets interesting. Serum, Solana, Terra, Voyager, and 0x Wormhole. I got to ask Steve about that. That'd be interesting. See how that all works out. But this is the big thing with Solana, because the language was part of that issue was Solana. And when I take a look at their Twitter feed, let me go back. You can see here they're big Solana supporters, right? And that is part of their community, which I could totally understand. And of course, you know, they're big supporters of Solana. There's this big event, Riptide, coming up. It's a hackathon. Then I look over at Sam Bankman-Fried's Twitter account. We know that he's big into Solana. And of course, down here is the video itself. And of course, they are all about it. Riptide Hackathon. So what it says to me is this, is that for Jump Crypto, whoever that entails and all the different partners that they have, that's deep money. That's deep money just within less than 24 hours to come about and just say, you know what, here's $300 million. Let's not try to do that again and then move on. So if you're looking at these different projects, I know that some people love Solana and some people hate Solana because they say, well, it's not decentralized and it's VC backed and things like that. Hey, I will say one thing. I'm not a big fan of scammers and scam artists and things like that. I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money. But if you can come in here and just say, here's $300 million for this hack, for all the people who lost their life savings and more. It's not just VCs that are out there that may have gotten hurt. I think there's a lot of individual investors. If they can come in there and save them, so much the better. And if you're looking for deep pockets, and of course, sometimes when you throw a lot of money at different projects, even though it might not be perfect, usually a lot of money can lead to a lot of progress. Not all the time. I've known a lot of businesses who started off with some pretty good people and a pretty good amount of capital, and they just tanked. But in this situation, when you have $250 million come out of nowhere, that might be a project to bet on. That is just investment opinion, not investment advice. Let me know what you think about that in the comments section. I just thought it was a good story, and I'm glad within 24 hours, all those people, everybody's got their money back. That's great. All right, let's move on. And this just real quick is the IRS case clarification. Today we had talked about this, and I got a little exuberant, a little excited, but I need to clarify something that's very important. This case isn't over. This case is not over. It's just that these people who took this case to the IRS, they are not backing down. And I was like, how are they not backing down? Because that's pretty expensive. I'll explain. So the fate of millions of taxpayers hangs in the balance of the IRS crypto staking case. And there's a nuance between staking and APY yield if you're on a platform, say like Voyager or Celsius. So that is also, we'll get to that in a second. So this is it. This is what I was talking about today. A Nashville couple declined a reimbursement from the United States Internal Revenue Service, friends of mine, on taxes paid on rewards gained, but not redeemed from staking on the Tezos blockchain. So yeah, wherever you're staking, if you're staking Solana, Cardano, Tezos, whatever else, if the rewards that you gain here in the US, they're going to say, well, whatever those rewards are, we're going to tax you on them. Even if you don't redeem them or sell them or use them for goods and services or whatever else, we're still going to tax you, which I think kind of sounds to me like unrealized gains. And then to clear this up, this is Josh Jarrett. Him and his wife they are part of the lawsuit. And they said, look, we turned down that offer because we didn't want to just take a settlement. Until the case receives an official ruling from a court, there'll be nothing to prevent the IRS from challenging me again on this issue. I need a better answer. And that's the truth, because if they take the settlement, that won't set precedent, and they won't be able to say, okay, now we know what it is. And not only just for them, but for all the different crypto investors out there that are gaining these rewards from staking. And when I was looking at this, I'm like, that's kind of ballsy just to come out and be like, hey, you know what? We're just a couple from Tennessee. Nothing wrong with Tennessee. We're just a couple, just two regular people, and we want to fight the IRS for nothing else to do. So I'm like, how the heck are they doing that? Because that's super expensive. I've been through lawsuits and it sucks and it's super expensive. So this is how it all came about, because industry group Proof of Stake Alliance is a partial funder of the lawsuit, which makes sense. Proof of Stake Alliance, that's people like Facebook and Meta who just joined, Coinbase and Gemini and some other different big players in the game. And they said that in turning down this reimbursement, the Jarretts have set the stage for a wide sweeping legal precedent. So of course they're going to back them. That is good for the entire market. But here's the kicker. Just because they turned that down doesn't mean they won, because now a bench trial is set for March 2023. So you got another year to wait, unless the case is settled after discovery in mid-March. So at the best, you're looking at mid-March. But a settlement offer is not the same as a binding precedent. Again, they could settle in March, which I don't think they will because these guys are backing them, and it's going to go a long time, according to tax and public policy experts. Sure. And then there is one thing to note here. I thought it was interesting. Accounting firms are already adjusting their reporting options for clients. I thought this was, I'm like, that's kind of brave. Legible, a crypto accounting firm that works with both retail and institutional clients, will now give clients the option to skip the staking rewards in their taxable income tallies, which means they could just like, nope, I'm not going to claim it. Now on this channel, I am not a CPA, nor am I giving investment advice. So talk to your CPA about that if you don't want to claim it. It's up to you. And they state rewards reporting will need to be flexible as this evolves, which is why we're adding options into the Legible tax platform to treat staking rewards in a manner according to this case, if the user chooses. So again, it's up to you for what you want to do. But for right now, it's still the old way. And there is a difference between the staking rewards and then APY that you could, or yield that you could gain if, for your crypto assets, which to me personally sounds like the damn same thing, but apparently it's not, for Voyager and for Celsius and any other type of platform that you're using. So the yield that you gain there, that's also taxable income, just so you know. But great thing is that if you use CryptoTrader.tax, link in the description, you can, that's what I use, and it's easy to tally. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to use the affiliate link in the description. I could care less if you use it, you know. But if you don't get 20% off. That's all I'm saying. I use it. I've used it for 2 years. Very easy to do. I've got a video that explains it. That's all we got. All right. So that's it for today. I just wanted to update those two things. I thought it was interesting that everybody got their money back because I've never heard of that. And I'm glad that there's some deep pockets. So that's what we got. And now let's get to the Q&A. So right now, that ends the news section. If you want to drop off here, I totally understand if you're watching this as far as recording. But now we'll get into the Q&A for whatever you have. So go ahead and bombard me with your questions right now, and I will get to them. So thanks so much for sticking around. All right. Hide that. And and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Warhawk. They hate Sol because they are locked up on ETH and can't get out. Well, that's true. If you stick to for ETH 2.0, you are locked. It is what it is. Sol will continue to be adapted while ETH 2.0 isn't coming out and decided to go with the name change. So, yeah, I don't know when it's coming out, but I've got a lot of ETH, a lot. I mean, not a lot, but I got a good amount. It's my second biggest holding, and I'm not going to stake it. That's just me. You can stake it. That's how it is. My goals are not your goals. I am not cool. I will never be cool. Ask my grandson. He thinks I'm a nerd. Let's see. What else? What do you think about the crypto app owned by TrustSwap? I have heard problems with that. And I don't use those types of wallets. So I use Ledger, and then I keep some of my crypto. First of all, my stake pool, Cardano, DNews, and then I also put a lot on Voyager and Celsius to gain the yield. That's just me. That's it. What do I think of HBAR? I think it's It's a good platform. I think it's in the top 30 or top 40 or something like that. And it's been around forever. And it's just an interesting project. Mathematically, I'm not really well versed in it. People tell me the things that I've read so far looks very promising. I just haven't invested into it. I have invested in Algorand, and I've been dollar cost averaging that every single day. I think that's another good play, but we will see. All right. And which platforms you buy UFO? Hey, that's a great question because they're new to this. If you ever want to find out like how to buy something or where it's actually given, I'm just going to show you Closet. I don't think I did that right. So just go to CoinGecko and let's look up in the search bar here, UFO gaming. And when we click on UFO, just kidding. Underneath here, you can see all the price chart historically as it goes around. But then over here, it says exchanges. You can see all the trading pairs. And then that's where you can find it. So like I'm pretty sure I got it on KuCoin or Gate.io because I'm in America. You can get on Uniswap, which is a DEX, but just be prepared to pay a boatload of gas fees. And that's where you can find everything that you want to and where it all is. So I hope that helped. All right. Oh, HBAR is hosting the Enterprise Metaverse. I'm telling you, I think Metaverse can be a pretty big play. I love CoinGecko. I like 202 too. Let's see. I can't see that one. Sorry. Have you covered Vault? No, I have not. Ada will win? Well, maybe. A lot of room for out there. Hello? This is a great question. Hey, Odell, what's the worst that could come out of crypto regulation? The very absolute worst is it could become crushing regulation that doesn't allow any kind of wiggle room, and it's pretty much makes it impossible to transact in crypto and digital assets, own wallets, and do anything as far as innovation. That's the worst play. But, and I've said this numerous times, I don't think that's the case here because you have to follow the money. And there's so much money coming in and so much, just even look at job creation. Ever since China did that crypto ban, that mining ban, I was like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Because I will tell you, it's great when all those miners shut down in China and they move everything over to the United States. And then the mining corporation or different mining companies like in Rockdale, Texas, and different parts of Texas where I'm from, all the construction companies are working feverishly. They are building these different huge warehouses. People are actually being hired for these rails. And it's a great job builder. And in America, I think in every country, people love jobs. And especially when things are coming to America. Now, America isn't like everything, right? But a lot of times when we set a little precedent, it kind of gets copied around the world. So there's so much money in here. There's so many things being created. I think it won't be crushing regulation. Really what it hinges down to is just how hard Gary Gensler and the SEC are going to clamp down on crypto. And if I can really care less where they go, if they say it's a security or it's not a security for whatever else it is, that's fine. Tell us what it is, and then we'll work our way around it because we're pretty ingenious people, especially in the crypto space. That's it. 10x with LQ. I don't know what that is. MT says, do you have a good contact for iTrust? I'm having trouble getting in contact with someone. That's odd. That doesn't usually happen. Just email me or put me on Twitter and find me. I'll get you in with Anthony Bertolino. Those guys are pretty good about getting back to everybody. Oh, this is a great question. Pompano Mike, digital asset, did you still have to pay U.S. mainland capital gains on the unrealized gains you have in your crypto portfolio for the crypto you owned when you left the mainland U.S. for PR? That is a great question. So I'm going to update my video on Puerto Rico. And let me tell you something. I was under the impression from a prominent lawyer, and he wrote me a nice fat opinion about what it could do, is that when you bring your crypto over from your past and you come over to Puerto Rico, the capital gains would get washed away because the time that Act 20, 21, 22, and X, which is now Act 60, when it was written back in those days, crypto was considered a property investment, which I still think it still is. And there wasn't a really definitive of, it wasn't definitive. What is it, property? Is it current? It doesn't matter. So what happened was I thought that I could bring it over here for the crypto, and then when I sell it, I'll be okay. And it turns out it's not the case. So if you're going to move to Puerto Rico, from what I understand from different CPAs, not just the lawyers, you're going to pay capital gains tax. Now, moving forward, I'm not going to have to. But for the ones that I bought before, yes. Good news is I didn't sell a bunch of crypto. I just sold enough to, well, it was to pay for this house. We had to pay, I sold like around 25 or 30% to pay for this house. Not of my whole portfolio, but just pay for this house. The rest was crypto loans. And the other part, we had shopped around or pulled it from other bank accounts. So to answer your question, you got to pay for your crypto that you bought over in the US. But as soon as you land foot here, it's retro from the time that you land in Puerto Rico going back. So I hope that helps. Okay. This is another good question. I'm curious as to why people use DEXs if the gas is so much. What's the advantage? So the advantage is if you can't find crypto on let's say you're looking at this really great low cap gem, right? And you're like, I really want to buy this because somebody told me about it. Sure. So you go to all your different exchanges and it's not offered there. The only place it's offered is on a DEX because you can get a lot of different cryptos over there and you can just swap away. So for dollar cost averaging, which is buying every day, every week, it's awful. It's awful to do it like that because the gas fees are so high. So if you're going to go in there and buy something, like I did that with World Mobile Token and something else. But I bought a big chunk of it. So you don't want to just like buy a couple, like $100 worth of the crypto and then pay gas fees for like $40 or $600 or whatever it is. You want to go heavy into DEXs and get your big thing and then just sit out. That is not investment advice to do that. But if you are into a specific crypto and you're like, you got to have it and it's only on a DEX, that's where people have to go. So just to buy like every day is a bad idea because you're going to get crushed in gas fees. How secure is it to stake your crypto in exchange? It's not secure whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. So when you put it on there, like I've never had a problem with Celsius or Voyager ever. I've never even been liquidated for the margin loans that I have on Celsius. So, but just know that they are a centralized exchange. So if you're putting your crypto there, you don't control it. That's why like with Cardano, like I just like how they did the staking process. You can unstake at any time. The staked tokens that you have never leave your personal wallet, which you control your keys to, and you can do whatever you want. And the yield is like between 4 and 6%. So I've never had a problem with it. There's never been any glitches. It's been just great. Me and the team handle all those things with our stake pool. I love it. No, I don't. I've watched the first 2 seasons and I just kept falling asleep. What's the advantage of using DeFi? It seems pointless to me. Well, you have to remember, it depends on where you're at. So like if you're in the United States for like decentralized finance, you're like, do I really need this? I mean, I rather go to a bank and deal with their BS and sign all the paperwork because the rates are pretty low. Let's be honest. But if you're in like an emerging country and you are trying to do something with like to get a loan for your business or to get a loan to buy property or do much of anything, it's pretty difficult, especially if you don't even have a bank because you're unbanked. So for DeFi, it can work out pretty well in those regards. Right now, DeFi, what I see it as is, first of all, it's a great place to get a loan. Also, it's a great place to get rug pulled. And then the third one is that it's a great place to get yield, crazy yield. But again, because of the higher risks for the gains, the higher rewards. But again, a great place to get rug pulled. That's how I see DeFi so far. And the only thing that's great about it, like in my mind, I see it as time goes on, that it's more so about eliminating the middleman. Like here's an example. If you go buy a house, and when you sit down at the title company and you sign all the paperwork and everything else, all the different fees that you see there, and there's a boatload of them. All those middle people, that can just be eliminated with DeFi and NFTs, because you could like all the different things where it has to go like to check your credit report, to record this at for the county, to put it through to the bank, and to have somebody sign off. That can all be eliminated just by blockchain technology. So I see that as being one of the big things later on, but that's just not available right now. Okay, hope that answered that question. I think that's it. Oh, this is the last question. Now it just disappeared. No, there's 2 more questions. Okay. So Diesel, that's a great name. Diesel King. Yeah, that's your real name. That was a great name. Will you be going to the Bitcoin conference in Miami? No, I will be here. I think it's in April. And that's the time that I have to be back in Texas, because we do a charity event. It's to help local kids in the community. We put on this obstacle course, and we get people together in our sports complex, and then they just run this obstacle course, and then we give the funds to the kids. So like I have to do that, and that's just, so I won't be there, but I'm going to give away 2 tickets because I trust gave me 2 tickets. So be aware of that. And then this is the last question. Rob, when the dips keep coming, how do you stagger your buy so you don't end up divorced, living on the streets, drinking vodka from a brown paper bag? I just lie to my wife, and then she never knows. No, I'm just kidding. So what happens, so how do you stagger your buys? Well, there's a pretty good play, and this is what I have done in the past. I'm not telling you what to do, obviously, not investment advice, but DCAing works in the very long run, but it's a very long process. You have to understand, when people look at me and they're like, why are you so calm? Because the market's down like 50% over time. This was this, and I've said this many a time. This is the same response I got when I would look at those damn YouTubers back in 2018 and 2019. I'm like, how are these guys so calm? What the hell? Because I mean, everything is down so much. It's because those guys back then, which they aren't around anymore, I might add, they were around in 2013, 2014. And they're like, hey, you don't usually make it in the first bull run, kid, but you can make it in the second or third. And I was like, all right, so I can see that. So what I did was I just said, okay, I'm going to dollar cost average throughout the whole time. To hell with it. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. And it paid off pretty handsomely, actually. So there was one process that I did is, first of all, I try to pick the best projects that I possibly can. Now, some aren't coming back like my analogy is Dash Assault. Look at the project Dash. As far as from the all-time high to what it is now, never came back. Take a look at Salt. It was a lending platform. From its all-time high, it was like a $15, something like that, and it came up to like 8 cents and never went up. So those 2 projects are never coming back. And what I try to find is like the best project by looking at the UTT, the utility. What does it do? Does it have an actual resource? Are the tokenomics good, or is it all going to go to some VC, crony? And then what is the team behind it, and what have they done? So I take a look at those, I do some DCA, and then one little trick that I do is as things start to spiral down even farther, let's say that it takes a dip at 20%. It's a good time to buy, right? And then I'll just maybe DCA, I'll just wait a week or 2 weeks, depending on what the news is, and then I'll buy again. But I try to keep it pretty consistent. But when there's a huge, huge dip, like when we saw in March of 2020, when that thing called coronavirus came out, and it was like, God, I think Bitcoin was at $3,300, and I want to say Ethereum was like $100 or $200. That's when you can do what's called dynamic dollar cost averaging, where you actually increase the amount of money that you put into it and buy in. Now, that could work great, or it could fail miserably, because if you pick the wrong project, which, let's be honest, it's some of these projects, it's a crapshoot. You pick the wrong project, that money's gone. But it's okay, because if you spread it around a little bit, some of the products that you've looked into do okay. Because like when I did it, I put it into Bitcoin and Ethereum. and I put in something like Funfair or Energy Total or something stupid, and that has never went up. But I'm like, nah, who cares? The other ones did pretty well. Anyhow, so that's what I got today. So look, I know the Q&A always goes longer, but the news is the news. So that's it. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing. A lot of things we talk about are time sensitive. I'm going to put up 2 videos right here. There was a lot of questions about staking, so I'll put up the video on what is proof of work versus proof of stake, how to stake Cardano, and the other one over here, I'll just put, I don't know, something about iTrust. And that's it. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.